The lost episode of the amazing world of Gumball that never aired. It was a perfectly ordinary Tuesday morning at Elmore Junior High, or so it seemed. Gumball and Darwin walked through the familiar hallways, their footsteps echoing against the lockers in a rhythm that felt somehow wrong. The usual chaos of students rushing to class was absent, replaced by an unsettling silence. "Where is everyone?" Darwin whispered, his orange fins trembling as they passed empty classroom after empty classroom. The windows that usually showed bustling activity now revealed only darkness, as if the rooms beyond had been swallowed by an endless void. Through the glass door of their homeroom, they could see their classmates sitting perfectly still at their desks. Penny was there, her shell gleaming under the fluorescent lights. But something was terribly wrong. Banana Joe sat motionless, his usual animated gestures frozen. Even Tobias, who never stopped talking, was silent as a statue. Miss Simeon stood at the front of the class, her back turned to them. She was writing something on the blackboard, but the chalk made no sound, and no marks appeared. Her arm moved in mechanical, repetitive motions, like a broken wind-up toy. "Miss Simeon?" Gumball called out. The teacher's movement stopped abruptly, but she didn't turn around. Instead, every student in the classroom slowly rotated their heads to look at the two brothers. Their eyes were completely black, like empty sockets staring into nothing. Penny's shell began to crack, but instead of revealing her true form underneath, only darkness spilled out. The cracks spread across her surface like spider webs. Banana Joe's peel started to brown and wither, curling at the edges as if he were aging decades in seconds. Darwin grabbed Gumball's arm, trying to pull his brother toward the door. But the door had vanished, replaced by solid wall. The windows, too, had disappeared, leaving them trapped in a room that was slowly shrinking around them. "This isn't real," Gumball whispered, but his words seemed to be absorbed by the walls themselves. The fluorescent lights above began to flicker, casting strange shadows that moved independently. In those shadows, Gumball could see faces of friends and family, but twisted into expressions of silent screaming. Miss Simeon finally turned around, but where her face should have been, there was only a smooth, blank surface. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out, only the sound of static, like a television tuned to a dead channel. The other students began to stand up from their desks in perfect unison, their movements jerky and unnatural. As they turned toward Gumball and Darwin, their faces began to melt like wax, features sliding down and reforming into grotesque parodies of their former selves. Gumball felt his own body beginning to change. His blue fur was fading to gray, and his limbs felt heavy and disconnected. Darwin was experiencing the same transformation, his bright orange color draining away like water down a sink. Just when it seemed like they would be consumed entirely by this nightmare, Gumball heard something that cut through the static, the sound of his mother, Nicole, calling his name from somewhere far away. The sound was faint, but real, more real than anything else in this twisted classroom. The nightmare classroom began to crack and crumble around them like a broken mirror. The melting students froze mid-reach, their distorted faces flickering between horror and their normal appearances. As the false reality shattered completely, Gumball and Darwin found themselves back in the real hallway of Elmore Junior High, gasping and shaking. Students walked past them normally, but in the reflection of the trophy case glass, just for a moment, they could still see those black, empty eyes staring back at them.